Hello friends, this is Christian Wiese. Today I wanted to share knocking on heaven's door. The other day a friend complained and said that she sometimes feels like she's standing in front of heaven's door and she can't find the door handle. And I said, well, that's one image. I'm also sometimes frustrated, but for me, the image that resonates is that we stand often in the light, but sometimes the clouds come in and we can't see the light. But there's always the knowledge that either tomorrow or the day after, the light shall return. And then she admitted that she had some medical issues, and of course I understand. I also always get very grumpy when my health is not 100%. But nevertheless, wanted to talk a little bit about frustration on the path to awakening or to enlightenment. I saw an interview with Robert Greene. He's an author. You may have heard about the 48 laws of power. More recently, he put out a book on the laws of human nature. Not exactly a spiritual writer, but very deep, very important psychological observations that he shares. And he said that he always wanted to be a writer. Started out as a journalist, and then one day somebody pulled him aside and said, you know what, you're all over the place. Journalism is not for you, do something else. And initially he took it very hard, but then he said, okay, then let me just be a writer. And traveled in Europe, took many different jobs, tried a few books, but nothing really came of it. I think he was already in his late 30s. His parents got really nervous. But he said he still felt very much a feeling of meaning. And then one day his big break came. He talked to a publisher, and the publisher asked, well, if you could write a book today, what would it be about? And he said, you know what? It would be about power. I've done so much research, studying all those powerful people, what drives them, why they became successful. And you know what? In all my day-to-day jobs, I see exactly the same power hunger. Everybody wants to be powerful. I would like to write about it. And then came his first bestseller out of it. And the gist of the story, so almost a Hollywood-style ending, is that in a sense all the confusion in between, all the traveling, the different European countries are taking on odd jobs, actually worked out. It was all important, it all came together, all his research came together in that book, and it suddenly all made sense. And while I do not want to promise you here what many of my colleagues do, that everything will be just perfect if you believe, what I do want to say is that's exactly how the awakening process unfolds. Every piece is connected, and we can have that knowledge, we can have that observation. Everything is designed to cut existing energy links that don't help us. And we can observe that, we can have that knowledge, and then in a sense, the frustration, the feeling of I'm knocking on heaven's door and it's not opening, completely disappears, and instead it becomes, well, I had a bad day, but nothing has really changed. I'm still very much on track of cutting those energy links. I am learning about myself, and you know what? With every step I take, I don't get closer to the target. I actually, with every step I take, am already home. So my book, Breaking Free, I came up with the observation that in Cleveland, Ohio, more often than not, it's cloudy, whereas in San Diego, California, more often than not, the sun is shining. So I said awakening is really the move from Ohio to California. We kind of, see light much more intensely, and everything in our life changes accordingly. We may still have the feeling that we're not completely there. We're only completely there when we don't care anymore whether we're in Cleveland, Ohio, or in San Diego. For us, with clouds or not, the sun is kind of always shining, and we might not be completely there, but boy, it is a lot of fun to be surrounded by the light. So I would push back a little and say, if you feel frustrated, be frustrated for a day or two, but please not much longer, because it doesn't make much sense. I feel many of the gurus always discuss enlightenment. They give you certain tautologies, something that supposedly is always true. You are that, spelled with a capital T. You are awareness. You are unconditional love. Trust in Jesus. He will move mountains for you. And I do not want to say that it's incorrect. It is correct, but it can lead to frustrations on the day when you are not connected. So for me, the more useful approach, at least that's what I do, is we need the psychologists, we need the healers, we need the life coaches, the past life hypnotists. We need to share our personal lessons. We are walking each other home, in Ram Dass's words. That's how I kind of experience the journey. And once again, with every step we take, we are home. All the interferences, the ego, the edging God out, the greed, the attachment that we mistake for love, the lust, the power cravings, they're all us. We cannot pretend that we are not that. Now spelled with a small t. We are that. But as the saying goes, accept it, invite the energy in, maybe even serve them tea, but don't let them stay overnight. That's really the recipe of being with the higher energies. And if it does happen that they stay overnight, and so be it. That just means that in a few weeks from now, we'll be in exactly the same situation, and we'll try again. For me, a quote that I really enjoyed, and I think that quote applies to everybody, independent of whether you're spiritual or not. I think at one point we just have that realization that life is all about cutting misplaced identities. So Manly Hall says, we can only escape from the world by outgrowing the world. Death may take the man out of this world, but only wisdom can take the world out of the man. As long as the human being is obsessed by worldliness, he will suffer from the karmic consequences of false allegiances. When, however, worldliness is transmuted into spiritual integrity, he is free, even though he still dwells physically among worldly things. That's really what happens in the awakening journey. And very much like Robert Greene had his insight that everything was meant to be, it's not hard to figure out that literally everything that happens to us is meant to be from a spiritual perspective. So in my recent book, Breaking Free, I argued that we can always do both. We can always be self-aware, but we can also let the higher energies run through us, recognize the higher energies, and I call them self, S as in serenity, E as in energy, L as in love, and F as in flow. Those higher energies are always around. We can always look out for them. And yeah, on the days when we have a tough time seeing them, we can always be self-aware and learn. So, in conclusion, no need to be frustrated. I think awakening is a lot of fun and provides us with a lot of meaning. Thank you for listening in. All the best. Bye.